with Ghost Story, I guess it started when, within a span of a couple nights, my wife and I both had martyr dreams, and not like, I almost call it martyr nightmares, like not in a good sense. I think when I was younger, I glorified like missionaries a lot and the idea of like dying on the mission field. So we both had dreams like that, and just thinking a lot about like, are we really willing to follow the Lord wherever He leads? The first verse is kind of me talking about those dreams, like seeing that cost and struggling with seeing the Lord in it and being willing to still do it. When it says grace, we talk as though it's free, but who can measure the cost of your son or put a price upon your grief? So it's a gift, but it's not cheap. You know, like it cost God the price of His son. Like His son was tortured and murdered in front of Him. It cost God a lot to offer us grace. And so that same thing, I think, the economy of God's kingdom is that there are things which are free to us, but they're not free ultimately.
Holy Ghost, keep haunting.
Both of these songs, they're more gang singing than gang.
Yeah, I was about to say, these aren't more so the yelling. These are more the singing.
This isn't so much like author or lower still as it is just like singing. And
it's just like the idea of singing with brothers and sisters. You know, I mean, it's just like that idea of that commonality in the community, I think, is always something we would like to include as well.
Yeah,
you know.
When I like it a lot when people are singing enough at shows that I don't have to sing as much and I can let them sing. That's what you want. You play songs so people will sing along. You know, that's what makes music bring people together. And for me, when I lead worship as a worship pastor and a worship leader, I like to try to get rid of the stage and the microphone as much as I can. Like my favorite way that we do worship around our church sometimes is everybody who has a guitar or something to beat on just does it. We get in a circle, we put the chord charts on the screen, and we just go for it. The chorus riff, I think, came the first time we were jamming, and originally I had it in 3/4. And Jesse doesn't usually push me this way, but he doesn't usually tell me what to do with the guitar. But when he does, it works out well. And he was like, no, play that in 4/4. Like he heard something in his head that I didn't hear.
So in the 6, the 3, 4?
Yeah.
Could you do like because then it would be 4/4.
So I've got to think about it in 4 now instead of in 3. We started playing it 4/4, we stopped and we were like, dude, that feels super 90s. And to us, that was
kind of like the balance and composure, how they brought back the 90s alt feel. That's what I felt like it kind of got at. It just grooved really well. And
And there's that one thing on this song we gotta fix. We edited something that didn't exist in real life.
How do you do that?
Yeah, magic, duh.
Matt's editing things that exist on another realm.
On another plane of existence.
I think oftentimes, at least with where the industry is now and with where like how people listen to music are now, I think it kind of makes sense to, rather than release like 10 to 12 songs all at once, like, you know, spread that out a little bit over the course of a year or 2 years or something, be able to consistently put out like 3 songs here, 4 songs here, whatever. And bundling it up into like smaller format, you can be a lot more selective about like what is going on and what you want it to be.
We had a bunch of guest things we wanted to do on this record, and only one came through, and that's because it's the one guy we really know and we're friends with, which is our friend Shane. And I think every time Shane records, he gets better and better, and we like his stuff more. And he's got, like, Jeremiah's never really liked screaming, especially like in a tough way.
Norma Jean, he likes
Yeah,
Norma Jean.
Like, I mean, some bands, but it's, not to be tough. It's not a tough thing to me. The way that you know and understand heaviness is with dynamics. And a lot of hardcore bands, they do their thing. It's a different style completely. And the idea is a block of sound usually. You know, in some sense, we're playing the long game with the screaming. You know, we wait 10 years to finally add it, and maybe hopefully it like has that effect, you know, because we do hold out so long, and you wait until it's like just the perfect time to do it, or just the perfect time to hit. So, you know, I think that most of our songs end up doing that.
There was very few decisions early on in my epic, but one of them was we're not screaming. And that was, I felt at the time like it was Jeremiah, and I thought I needed to trust in that, like, wisdom. Like, and I do think it set us apart. When we recorded that song, it was like, man, it'd be super cool to write something that we could have Shane guest vocal on. And if you're gonna have Shane guest vocal, you gotta let Shane do the thing that he's awesome at, which is this kind of like broken, angry, pissed off scream. And he's one of our favorite vocalists. Like, if I think about screamers, guys that use screaming, I think he uses screaming. I don't think of him as a screamer. I think of him as a guy who uses it, and when he does, uses it in a really cool way. And we're off.
Look at the way he started. I mean, he's like starts whispering, and works up. I mean, it's very emotive. I mean, it's not static or, you know, stupid low or pig squeals or any of the stuff that has happened in hardcore music. It's very guttural.
Again, we grew up
raw.
We grew up on punk rock. Like, before metalcore was a thing or the scene, we all grew up listening to punk rock. We all agree on like things that are kind of falling apart and dirty and messed up and kind of grungy. If Shane's gonna do his thing on any song, it's this one. And we wrote the bridge in mind with that in mind.
Well, I think what sealed it is when you started doing the palm muted, like, dun, dun, dun. It's like, oh, that's Shane. Like, immediately we just.
It's funny because that song, when we got the mixes back, I liked it as its own entity without the screaming. I thought it was a really solid song, and it was different. But then once we got the mixes back with Shane screaming, it just ramped it up a whole nother level.
My friend Mike was with us again, and I played it for him on my cell phone through a cell phone. He was like, dude, that's awesome. It's gonna be so good.